I'm one of the local Uniting Church ministers here, just 500 metres away at Wesley Uniting Church. We were delighted to have 150 of you bring in your own breakfast from Melbourne and sharing with us in our facilities there this morning. Friends, I'm here as a church person, a Christian. I was national president of the Uniting Church for 3 years, from 2006 to 2009. And during those 3 years, I can certainly assure you that the Christian leaders of Australia, the heads of churches of Australia, were dreadfully concerned about what was happening with asylum seekers and refugees here in Australia. I think it's fabulous that our first speaker today was an Indigenous person who welcomed us to their country. And then came Mohammed, who reminded us that the rest of us who are not Indigenous in this country have come from refugee and migrant families from all over the world. One way or another, our ancestors, my father was a refugee from Scotland in 1924. And I come out of that sort of background knowing that this is not my historic land, but it's a land where we have been welcomed, and we still hear words of welcome from extraordinarily gracious and generous Indigenous leaders here in Australia who say that our policies on asylum seekers and refugees are cruel and inhumane. I want to say, therefore, that you folks today have the support of the Australian churches and their church leaders. We certainly are making representation frequently to our national leaders on all sides of politics about what should be the policy, a policy based on compassion and love. I want to remind you that for us Christians in Australia, our sense of welcome to refugees, and what a beautiful big banner this is, refugees are welcome. Our sense of welcome to refugees is based in our Christian faith. That where Jesus, in one of his well-known stories or parables, had this fabulous parable where he was talking about who are the people that are in right with God. And the people who are in right with God are the people who give a glass of water to somebody who's thirsty, who feed somebody who's hungry, and who welcome into their homes someone who is a stranger in need. It's a foundational part of our Christian faith. It's a sense of hospitality for the stranger. And that's backed up in the Hebrew scriptures for the people of Jewish faith in what we Christians call the Old Testament, where they had been slaves in Egypt. And they had escaped slavery from Egypt, but constantly thereafter one of their moral principles was that they had to look after anybody who was an alien in their land. They were welcome to share the fruits and the bounty of their land of Israel. That's in the Old Testament. So people who follow the good book, the Holy Bible, have no choice really but to welcome asylum seekers and refugees who come here legally, exercising their human rights and their legal rights under the United Nations obligations, honour international human rights conventions. We could do with an awful lot more of that in Australia. So I want to resonate with what Sarah Hanson-Young said, that it's a question of our national identity. Do we want our national identity to be defined by those who say stop the boats and lock these people up, treat them inhumanely, torment them and try and send them back to their countries where only conflict, suffering, discrimination and racism awaits them? Is that what we want to do? But I want to suggest to you it's more than just a question of national identity. It's also a question of basic human morality. One of the most galling things for me as a leader of a Christian church here in Australia is that at the moment we have Tony Abbott, who professes a strong Christian faith. We have known Kevin Rudd, who professes a strong Christian faith. And now the now leader of the opposition, Bill Shorten, professes a strong Christian faith. But none of them apply their Christian faith to the question of asylum seekers and refugees. It's a shameful hypocrisy, and we in the churches are appalled by that. And so, friends, I simply want to say, well done. Keep up the struggle for basic human rights, basic morality, and we in the churches will support you to the hilt. God bless you. Thank you.